Under the bright floodlights of a roaring stadium, the tension could be sliced with a knife. The scoreboard glowed like a silent reminder of how narrow the margin was, a single run separating victory from heartbreak. The crowd, packed shoulder to shoulder, felt the weight of every pitch, every swing, every breath. Baseball had slowed down to its most dangerous rhythm, the calm before chaos. It was the ninth inning, and anything could happen. The batter stepped into the box, gripping his bat tighter than ever before. He wasn't just facing a pitcher, he was facing the weight of expectation. Fans shouted his name, others held their breath, knowing that one swing, one perfectly timed motion, could decide the fate of the night. The pitcher stood on the mound, his uniform drenched in sweat, eyes locked on his catcher's glove. Every sign, every nod, carried the burden of thousands watching. The first pitch came in fast, a blazing fastball that screamed through the air. The batter didn't flinch. Strike one. The umpire's call echoed like thunder, and the fans groaned collectively. The pitcher exhaled deeply, maybe too deeply, as if he was trying to push the nerves out of his chest. But everyone could feel it, the rising storm, the unspoken electricity that made baseball's final moments so cruelly beautiful. He wiped his brow, adjusted his grip on the ball, and leaned forward again. The catcher called for something tricky this time, a breaking ball that could twist fate itself. The wind had picked up slightly, brushing against the outfield banners. Every player stood ready, boots anchored to the dirt, gloves open, hearts racing. The batter glanced toward third base coach, a silent nod exchanged. He knew what was coming. The crowd could feel it too, the tension wasn't just in the air, it was alive. The next pitch curved in, dipping low, then rising just enough to tempt a swing. The batter held back. Ball one. The count evened out, and murmurs spread through the stands like ripples in still water. In that moment, time didn't exist. The ninth inning has that kind of power, to freeze a crowd, to make 1,000 hearts beat in unison. Every spectator felt as if they were part of the play, as if their own pulse could somehow push the ball foul or fair. The pitcher inhaled, eyes narrowing. His arm came over, faster than the blink of an eye. The crack of leather as the ball hit the glove was louder than the crowd's roar. Strike two. 2 strikes, 1 ball, the count where dreams usually die or are reborn. The batter stepped out, exhaled slowly, and looked up toward the stands. Somewhere in that ocean of faces, his family was watching. Somewhere in that noise, hope still whispered. The next pitch, a fastball, low and outside. The batter didn't bite. Ball 2. Now it was even. 2-2. The tension had turned into a living thing, crawling through the dugout, across the field, up into the stands. The manager rubbed his face, muttering prayers that only desperate coaches know. The opposing dugout was silent, every eye locked on the mound. The pitcher paused, stared down the batter, and nodded. The catcher signaled for the pitch of destiny. The ball left the pitcher's fingers, spinning through the floodlights. The batter's eyes widened, it was coming right where he wanted it. The swing came with a sound that every baseball fan knows, the perfect crack of wood against leather. For a split second, nobody moved. The ball soared into the night sky, climbing higher and higher, as if it were challenging the stars themselves. The crowd erupted in a confused mix of cheers and gasps. The outfielders sprinted backward, their eyes locked upward. One of them reached the warning track, his glove stretched out like a prayer. The ball kept traveling, a white streak against the black night. Then, silence. The ball dropped just inches over the wall. Home run. The stadium exploded. It wasn't just noise, it was chaos, joy, disbelief, heartbreak all at once. Fans screamed until their voices broke. The batter tossed his helmet, arms raised, as he rounded first base. His teammates poured out of the dugout, leaping and shouting like kids in a backyard game. The pitcher collapsed to his knees, staring at the spot where the ball had disappeared. He knew that sound the moment it left the bat, the sound of a season changing. The catcher lowered his head, glove dangling lifelessly by his side. The scoreboard flipped, and with it, so did the story of the night. The losing team stood in stunned silence, the reality hitting harder than any pitch. Some players stared at the ground, others kicked the dirt in frustration. Baseball can be cruel, it gives hope, only to snatch it away in the blink of an eye. The winning dugout, meanwhile, turned into a storm of celebration. Gatorade flew through the air, hats were tossed skyward, and players screamed the batter's name. He had done what every kid dreams of, turned pressure into glory with one perfect swing. The fans couldn't stop shouting. Some were crying, some hugging complete strangers. It didn't matter if you knew the person next to you, in that moment, everyone was family. Baseball has that power to unite through chaos, to make people feel something raw and unforgettable. As the batter rounded home plate, he was mobbed by his teammates. They lifted him up, spinning him around, while the scoreboard behind them burned like a monument to legend. Walk-off home run. Game over. But even amid the celebration, the beauty of that moment lay in its fragility. For every hero, there's a pitcher who will replay that throw in his mind forever. For every cheer, there's a dugout echoing in silence. Reporters rushed the field, cameras flashing, trying to capture what could and truly be captured, the emotion, the human heartbeat behind the victory. The batter barely spoke, too overcome by the noise and adrenaline. He simply pointed to the sky, dedicating the moment to someone unseen. In the stands, a father lifted his son onto his shoulders, shouting in pure joy. The kid waved a foam finger, his eyes wide, realizing he had just witnessed something he'd tell his children someday. These are the nights that turn fans into lifers, that make baseball more than a game. The losing pitcher walked off slowly, the crowd giving him a respectful round of applause. It wasn't mockery, it was acknowledgement. He had given everything. In baseball, even in defeat, there's honor. The announcer's voice trembled as he declared the final score. The words barely cut through the roar of celebration. On the replay screens, the swing played again and again, slow motion, every muscle, every breath. The fans relived it as if trying to etch it into eternity. Fireworks cracked overhead, lighting up the field in bursts of color. The smell of smoke and grass mixed into something unforgettable. The players on the field danced, hugged, shouted, and wept. For them, this wasn't just another win. It was survival, redemption, destiny. As the stadium began to empty, the field glistened under the lights. The dirt bore the marks of sliding cleats, the bases slightly scuffed, silent witnesses to one of baseball's timeless endings. Some fans stayed behind, just staring at the field. They didn't want it to end. They wanted to freeze this feeling, the heartbeat, the joy, the disbelief, forever. Back in the clubhouse, champagne bottles popped. The room turned wild with laughter and music. Players danced, sprayed foam everywhere, and shared moments of pure euphoria. Reporters struggled to capture the sound of victory, but no microphone could truly do it justice. Meanwhile, in the other clubhouse, the silence was deafening. Helmets lay untouched, jerseys half unbuttoned, eyes red from frustration. A few words were exchanged, but mostly, there was quiet. Baseball's beauty lies in this contrast, the highs and lows that define the sport. Outside, the city was alive. Car horns blared, fans waved flags out of windows, and street corners filled with chants. People who didn't even follow baseball could feel it, the energy of a victory that would be talked about for generations. Sports writers would later call it the ninth inning miracle, while others would label it the swing heard around the city. But for the players who lived it, it was something simpler, the night everything changed. The next morning's headlines would be everywhere, faces splashed across front pages, the moment frozen in photographs. Yet, no image could truly capture the roar of the crowd when the ball cleared that fence. Baseball had done it again, turned tension into triumph, silence into sound, heartbreak into history. And as fans woke up still replaying the moment in their minds, one truth lingered: in this game, it's never over until that last swing. The legend of that night would grow with each retelling. Kids would practice in their backyards, pretending to be the hero of the ninth. Coaches would use it as a lesson, to never give up, no matter how dark the inning looks. And somewhere, the batter himself would sit quietly, knowing that for one fleeting instant, he had touched perfection. The chaos, the crowd, the noise, all of it came down to that one swing that ended it all. That's the magic of baseball: it breaks your heart, it mends it, and then it makes you believe all over again.